How many of us here are manufacturers? I think we are very few that will be able to establish a very big conglomerate and manufacture for exports. Very few. But there are many of us who can start from the scratch and export something that will be of value to you and to the world. For instance, I want to base it on agro. Nigeria is an agro economy. True or false? True. If you go, 80% of us are into agriculture. Either you are a subsistence farmer or you do mechanized farming. Then some of us will be traders. As a trader, you are also part of the value chain of the agro business. Now, what do I mean? There are 1,001 items that we produce here that are needed abroad, that any country is willing to pay for. I'll just list a few, then I'll go into how those things are packaged and sold. How many of us know hibiscus flower? Hibiscus flower is what we call zobo today. Now, when I was growing up, around the house, it's planted as flowers for decoration. Now, if I tell you that 1 ton, we know measurement of tonnage, 1,000 kg, okay? 1,000 kg of that hibiscus flower is worth over 2 million naira. We don't believe that. It doesn't make sense, right? No, it makes sense. Okay, but for someone who doesn't have an idea, will think, what are you talking about? This thing. They have various use, and they have health advantages. So it's used for wine, it's used for drugs, and so many other things. Now there are so many other products. Let me list them before I go ahead. We have hibiscus flower, we have sesame seed, we have cashew nuts, both raw cashew nuts and cashew kernels. We have palm kernel, we have palm oil, we have shea nuts, we have shea butter. We know what is called shea butter. Yes. This only shea butter. We have pawpaw, we have mango, we have avocado pear. That's pear, okay? We have groundnuts, we have cola nuts, we have bitter cola, we have, name them, even ginger, turmeric, garlic, and so on, including some of those vegetables that you eat, used for food. They are also exportable. Now, that brings us to the two parts. Now, there are dry grains and there are fresh grains. You can export fresh, you can export dried. If you want to export fresh, which most of us are not used to, there's a container that is refrigerated. That is how apple comes in here. Most apple you see, the closest place is either Egypt or South Africa. Some come from Europe, but they come here fresh and good. Even tomato now come from South Africa into this country. Now, these are fresh, and they are fresh as it is harvested. You refrigerate them in a walk-in container and you move them. So we can also export fresh. Like mango, coconuts, and some of those things are exported fresh. Now we have dry. The dry does not have issues. You can do ginger fresh or dry. You can do turmeric fresh or dry. You can do other things that are dry, like cereal, soya beans. Although maize has restriction now because of low production, but soya bean oil, ginger, blackstone flour, and so many other items. You package them in a normal container and export. Now, for every commodity you exported, it has standards, it has quality specifications, because everyone who is in the business or who is buying has a purpose he's buying. Just flip the coin. You want to buy a shoe, or you want to buy shoes from Italy. You don't just say, give me shoes, and they send you shoes. Shoes have rules. It must be in pairs, and that pair must be a right and a left. It must be in sizes, and that the pair must come with the same size. The pair must come with the same method, the same color, and the same structure. So it must come in a perfect build. Then you are not going to say, give me one container and they give you 43 feet, no, 40 feet or 43 sizes. No. You are going to calibrate them. The way human structure is that in men, we have pack of the men in 42, 43. So when they are giving you, they give you 32 in few pieces, 39 in few pieces, 40 in few pieces, 41 in few pieces, more in 42 and 43, then 44 in few pieces, 45 in few pieces. The reason is that is how our population is graduated, is structured in that manner, that bulk of the population is in 43, 44. So the same thing with our packaging here. There must be specification, and that specification must entail what it is, because the person who is going to use them has a value for it. Let me use cashew nuts for instance. I know that Abia understands cashew nuts. There's a huge cashew business around Okigwe and Uturu. Okay, now cashew nuts is a highly needed goods abroad, because after almond nuts in fruits, the next fruit is cashew nut. Do we know what we call almond? Something else? That's the tree we call fruits here. That thing we call fruits is the almond nuts. That's the healthiest nuts we have in the world. Then after that is cashew. So it's of high demand and it's very expensive. Some of us, if we know now, we will know that the cashew season is about to begin, and the price, because of exchange rate, has gone haywire. Now, you can export that comfortably from the comfort of your home. How do you do that? It has quality specification. It has method they preserve them. I use that for instance. There are three major specifics that you need in them. You need the moisture, to know the moisture level, which will tell you the durability of those products. Then you need the nut count, which tells you the number of seeds you have before you achieve a particular kg. Then you need the LBS, or what they call KOR. It is measured experimentally for you to determine the quality of that product. And 52 is the maximum value, and that commands the highest price. Then as a cascade down, the prices drop to below 30 depending on the time and the season. So the higher that KOR, the better the quality, and that determines the price. Now how do we do that? If you have the knowledge of these things, you package them based on specification, because the buyer is going to specify the product. So you have a buyer at the other end who is in need, or either is an agent or is a processing factory that bake them into kernels and make them ready, or edible fruits ready. If you go to big shops, in supermarkets, if you walk into a shop right now, you see different products for cashew in complete place. You see the packaging, some in can, some in bottle, some in nylon, some in paper, anyhow, including the ones that they hawk in the streets, which are shafts anyway, not properly processed. Now, but you look at them, you see how it is done. Now, the buyer has a need, so he looks at your specification to buy. So the product is yours to package and for you to send to him. Now we have to come to the nitty-gritties of the export business. Now, apart from packaging and other things that are needed in the business, there's also risk in the business. What is the risk? Two things happen. It's either you're paid or you're not paid. And you're paid, your payment depends on two things. Is either your quality does not meet specification or you did not tie your knots very well with the buyer. What do I mean by tying your knots very well? There are payment terms that are safe for you as an exporter, and there are some that are not safe for you as an exporter, except your buyer is well known to you. How do we export? If I have a contract to export the goods with a buyer, the buyer is in need. I have the product. He specifies the quality of what he wants. We bargain for the price suitable for that quality, and he pays me, he pays the buyer. We agree in terms. He specifies the payment terms that will protect him and protect me, because he runs a risk, you run a risk. So he wants himself protected, you want yourself protected. You agree on that terms. And when you agree on that terms, you come, you package the goods based on specification, you containerize, you send to port, you do your forwarding, the vessel pick, you have your shipping documents, then the buyer pays before you release your documents to him. I want to now go into the payment methods. There are payment methods that we call TT. TT is telegraphic transfer. Telegraphic transfer is that you and the buyer have already agreed in terms. Then once he is comfortable at any stage, he can pay you. He can do advance payments with you. There are some times that I discuss with the buyer. We agree, you can pay me 30% before I start. He will pay you the 30%, or as the case may be, before you start. There are ones that will not pay you. They want to see the goods and they pay you. Now, for TT, once such thing is agreed, he pays you whatever is agreed, even if there's no advance payment. He wants to pay against bill of lading. Bill of lading is the document from the shipping company showing that a vessel has been loaded, or a container has been loaded into the vessel, and this is the document, or this is the proof,
Evidence.
or the evidence for that goods or the consignment in the vessel. Then the buyer will act based on that. Even if he needs confirmation, he can confirm and pay. That is TT. Then there's a global practice that is called LC. LC is letter of credit. Letter of credit, if that is the terms that we agreed with the buyer, what it means is that the buyer will establish an LC from his own bank. Then there's a correspondent bank to our local bank who will transmit the LC to your own local bank, who is the seller. Now, when this is communicated to you, what you do is that you confirm the existence of this LC and you deal. Now, this dealing is that it is between your bank, his bank, and then the intermediary bank. That intermediary bank ensures that both banks and the buyer and the seller comes in a fair position so that nobody is cheated. And most times, payment is made on the transmission of the documents, the shipping documents. Now the last one is EC. This is bill for collections. The bills for collection, while LC is letter of credit. The bills for collection, you flip it around. The big pharmaceuticals in this country, like Orange Drugs, Green Life, and so on, some of them enjoyed it in the other way because they are using it for. If I have a long relationship with a buyer and I trust him, I will do bills for collection. What is bills for collection? I give you these goods on trust. Go and sell it and send my money to you. That's what some of Nigerian companies have enjoyed before. But because of trust issues, they are beginning to have fears about it. Or before, you check out goods, deal with the person, he sends the goods for you, gives you 90 days. Within that 90 days, you have sold the product and returned the money for them. But big conglomerates are still enjoying them. Most of the manufacturers, the big manufacturers, the big names that they know that they won't run away, will never pay cash. If Guinness, Coca-Cola, once they establish bills for collection, you send them the goods. Within 90 days, you make your payment. So that's how some people buy from the local dealers. There are so many manufacturers that are also into it. What you know is that as far as it can give you volume in the business, there's no big deal. You do that, so you finance it, and the money comes. Now, how do we play as individuals? As individuals, you can start this business in a very small way, depending on your risk appetite. What do you need to start this business? You need a registered company, and for you to be able to obtain an NEPC certificate. NEPC certificate means Nigerian Export Promotion Council certificate. That's the license to export. Your company must be a limited liability company. What do we call a limited liability company? That company that you see them put at the end, LTD. Yeah? That's a limited liability company. So it's a company that has more than one director. It has more than one director, so you have a board. So it's registered, is also allotted by shares. So with that, you register such company, approach, and in that registration, you must make sure that your memo carries that you are an export company. If your memo does not indicate that you are an export company, NAPC will turn down your export license request because you did not specify. And because of the SCUMO that is run by EFCC and so on, those things are necessary for them to be able to know the class of business that you do. And with that class of business, they'll be able to ascertain that, oh, are you really an export person, or you just want to launder funds and run away? So you must be a limited liability company, and you have an export license from NEPC. Now when you have this, then you're good to go. The next thing you do is to find a buyer. You can find buyer directly through friends, through relatives, and so on. Especially Nigeria that have a lot of people in that diaspora. Some of them who have the contact to people that need the products can do that for you. You can export as little as beans, things that are common and in use in everywhere. Beans, gari, semo, indomie, spaghetti, all of them, whether it's agro or food, you can export as much as that. Now when you have the contract, so you have a buyer, you enter into a contract, then you'll be guided by your contract. Because for me, I'm dealing with a new buyer. I'm not going to ask the buyer to pay me after delivery. Yeah, I'm not going to tell him to pay me after delivery. If I say pay me after delivery, I don't know him. If he refuses to pay, I have lost the funds. So I will structure a payment term that will be fair to me and fair to him. Oh, you don't know me, I don't know you. What I need is to be sure that this business goes successfully. So pay me against the original bill of lading. So before I transmit your bill of lading, because if I transmit bill of lading to him, it gives him the ownership of the goods. So before I give him ownership of the goods, I make sure that I collect my money, because he has confirmed that this goods is in vessel and the document is showing that. Then he would have done, maybe I would have sent an inspection report through renowned inspection agents like SGS or Global View or whichever company that have done that. Then with that, I secure myself, I secure them for it. So that's one aspect. Then the second aspect, if you don't want trouble for yourself, because probably your business does not give you time to run it, you can come into existing groups or existing companies and invest in them. I have an existing company with my team. It's Mr. Reuben. We export. We export a lot of agro commodities at present, ranging from charcoal, from stone flour, from hibiscus, sesame seed, and so on. So what we do is Those who are not ready to run around for their businesses, you invest into us, we agree on terms of return. For every transaction cycle, which is 90 days for international business, you get your returns from the business. So with that, we'll help you, and if you want to gradually navigate into your own, we groom you, we train you into navigating into your own business. By and large, the world is not going to close in a moment. Businesses are going to continue infinitely, and the world is beginning to need what is not present in their own place, because they see it and they know the value, especially now that in some areas what they have is genetically modified goods. They call it GMOs, genetically modified goods. What they call genetically modified goods is that, assuming it is soybeans is not going to be soybeans, because they are going to genetically modify it that it becomes something similar, not the same thing. So people know that the best thing to do to your health is to eat organically, and what we do here is still organic, where we have not gone into genetics. So most of them depends on us to do that, and it's an avenue for us to take an advantage. What are the advantages? One, you have to enhance your earning ability, and you save yourself from the Naira crisis. Secondly, on a larger view, it helps the economy. It eases off the tension right now that we are experiencing, because the more effects we earn, the more pressure we have on dollars, and it begins to make us to live better, and that is the only condition for the appreciation of Naira. Forget government's abracadabra. Those ones are tentative measures to cushion the effect. But if you don't do what is right, the situation will continue. It's a larger group, is a preview of the training. If there's any other time, we have individuals that are interested, we can do a detailed training from point to point for a section. Thank you, and I appreciate your audience. No, go ahead. How many? Can we take? 5 minutes. Okay, fine.
Your business theory is very, very interesting. Why listening to it? I don't know, maybe out of experience, I've been talked into so many kinds of business that wasn't the way it is in the real sense of it. Just like you are flowing. Is there no other implication? Let's say somebody wants to invest through you. What's the guarantee? Irrespective of dollar fluctuation, it can go up, it can come down. You did not bring all those into consideration. What if your calculation on the side of appreciation and it depreciates? What happens to that understanding of the returns on investments?
Okay, now let me tell you, I know.
Excuse me. Is it not better we ask the whole question? I mean, export transaction. That you concluded. How many did you concluded when the year 2023? That's number one. Number two, can you transact the export business in my own company name? Because I have export license. So can you be able to transact the business in my own export license name? Then number three, how do you handle government regulations? NAFDAC, lab quarantine, so on.
Those questions are they generated by you only?
No, that's why I'm just going to ask them the question.
No, it's generated by you now.
It's not by me.
You look at the economic indices. If Naira is going to come back, how much do you think it will gain? Very infinitesimal. Because what is our problem? We have not solved it. So if we solve it, it will come down. And to solve it needs Very long. It's a long time. You understand? What the government is trying to or going to do in soonest is to do the abracadabra that Ghana did. And that abracadabra is to go and struck off 2 zeros. Then when you struck off 2 zeros, dollar becomes, instead of 1,500, it becomes 150. And you think that you are good. International organization look at you as good. Internally, you are still suffering. Because the man who is earning 100,000 naira, his salary becomes 150. Yes. So that's how it works. Because they just remove 2 zeros. So it has not changed anything. So those things are very minute. Moreover, and which is normal in business, that sometimes falls a bit short. What you should bother about is the character of the person that brought you into the business, who probably will not tell you the other things that happen in the business, not the exchange rate. You understand? So it's character thing. That's what I said. Sorry, focus on the view. Okay. Perfectly. You can deal on your own name. Like I said initially, that yes, you can deal on your name. Like I said initially, I said if what you want is start your own from the scratch, you can do those processes. If you have done those processes, why not? It's a straightforward thing. You deal in your name. You understand? So what's the second question?
The first question is, okay, how many transactions
Okay.
were able to handle completely in 2023?
If I miss the transaction, it will be more than 2. As at this year, I've loaded about 6 of them from January to. In fact, yesterday, I just came back to Lagos. I just came back yesterday. I went to.
You want to where?
I went to load in Kwara.
Okay.
So I just came back yesterday. Okay.
One hold on.
It's something that we have to redirect ourselves from importation to production and exporting. We appreciate that. But this is a mixed audience. The composition of this audience is a little bit difficult. I would like to suggest that we give us your address, your contact details, and people who can benefit from this presentation and get to you. I mean, the subject you have taken up can be addressed over a period of 9 months at Lagos Business School. And you are touching on a very important matter. But I doubt whether people can really benefit much from it without spending the time with the company. So I would like to suggest that it continues at this stage. We've got the essence, we exchange addresses and so on. People can come over and do their entry and so that they can come to you to take on ask questions and so on if you have an office where somebody can address you. It's already 6 o'clock and there are some
Thank you, sir. Well noted. I think I mentioned it earlier too, that those who are interested should take it further from there. Okay? Yes, the last
Let's
just
not
let me
further.
answer that last one because you are right.
Let's have your contact. Your phone number.
My number is 08036. My address is 98.
Chairman, because one question before you come down. What is your success rate or failure rate in this your business?
Let me be very specific on my own. I think I've not had a loss of funds with my transaction. Reason is because I learned from my predecessors. And how you do that is at the point of your contract, you make sure, like I said, you tidy your contract that you don't run into. Then, but what happens is that if you have a long-standing business partner, you don't have it because it is genuine. What happens to lots of companies when there is a person is the character of your buyer is questionable, but if he is someone you know and he knows you, even if there is an issue, what you do is shameless to accommodate them. For example, they give you goods that is short by tonnage, credit free. The next one, I'll give you off that weight loss, and you get what you have.
What about insurance?
The same thing. The insurance, whether you want to do general insurance or specific insurance, it's your choice. I think time you're organizing your business.
Sorry, please let me suggest. Your talk was very good, but it would be nice if you make us assimilate it well by having a presentation.
Oh, yeah, there is suggestion.
We are going to that one. And then the Nexim MD said 80% of export from Africa, just last quarter of last year, we are rejected. 80%. I don't know if you are aware of that. Yes. Is it product specific or general export? But that's a very top-level information.
It's product specific. It is not general. Why it is product specific is that beans, for instance, is what constituted the major rejection because they treated it with this thing we use, sniper. They treated it with sniper, and if you test it in a lab, it's not going to test for edible products.
Reuben, I present to you so much for this enlightenment. As we have said, this is the beginning. I think what we are going to do is we can share a list around so that people get interested to come for a deeper class. Just like data IC, you cannot be here and get all the knowledge. You have to be much more deeper. But it's good we get this enlightenment so that you know that there is something happening. So many of us, Akalaka and Maile, so many of these things are possible. So we are going to share that list around. So that, no, let's get the people really interested. Just as he said, can we get more streamlined? So the next item I want to because I may mention are the new members. Are we the table one more? Maybe I'm meeting it. What's that? So that we can welcome the new members.